Just so you know, I'm recording this session, so you know, if you ever were to show your face or anything, just know that your face might show up in the recording. Okay, so those are the textbooks, and like I said, I don't really care, but I do think as a biology major or a science major that it is important for you to, one, read the textbook to learn it, and two is get in the habit of reading about biology. It is something you're going to do as a biology major, and you're going to want to know how to read biology, and it's not necessarily the easiest thing. So make sure you are getting some sort of textbook to read. Ashley, if you can hear me but you can't see, maybe try to leave the session and come back, because I think other people are seeing me. Yes, so the one with the flower is just, it's actually a bigger version of the In Focus book. The In Focus book, they took out some examples and some details that aren't in the In Focus book. So it's actually a kind of, in a way, a better book. Yes, 3rd edition for the one with the eyeball. Okay, so that's the textbook. Now let's talk a little bit about how this class is going to work in terms of just systematically going through the class in terms of our syllabus. Let's do one page at a time so you guys can see better. And we'll zoom in. Let's see, we'll go 200%. Is that good? Can you see it pretty well? Big enough? Okay, so this is biology for science majors, like I said. My name's Dr. Bird. I just a little bit about me. I really love teaching biology. This is a weird semester. It's online, and although I've taught online before, I've never taught online where there has been no chance for me to ever see my students. So I've always had lab on campus. So this is kind of a strange semester. So I hope at some point you guys share your faces with me. I've already seen some of yours, and it's just going to be weird to never know what you look like. I might see you on campus some other day and I won't know it's you because I won't know your face. I've been teaching for a long time. If you read my little bio, I went to Penn State for undergrad, and I did research there with lizards and DNA sequencing. And then I went to Johns Hopkins for grad school, and I worked in fruit flies and gene regulation. And then for my postdoctoral research, I researched gene regulation in different kinds of cancer. So I have most of my focus is molecular biology, although I did work with fruit flies, so I know a little bit of developmental biology. And so that's kind of what my background is. And there's a lot of biology I don't know. So I often learn a lot when students ask me a question. I'm like, I don't know. Let's go look that up, and I find out something new. So because biology is so big, you can just continually learn more about it. So 5 sessions today, Tuesdays from 12:30 to 2, and then Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8. I've had a lot of you ask me, are they going to be the same or different? So I've thought about it, and I couldn't decide how I wanted to do it. I decided they're going to be different. So here's what I'll tell you. This week they're going to be the same, so don't come tomorrow. Can you see my video? Hold on one second. I'm going to go tell my son to get off the computer. Okay, guys, I'm back. He wasn't on the computer, so hopefully you can see me. I just got a message saying my connection was bad. Okay, so back to the lectures. So this week they're going to be the same, but starting next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the beginning part of the chapter on Tuesday, and then I'm going to pick up where I left off and cover the remaining part of the chapter on Wednesday. So what that means is that you will, if you can only come to one of the 2 sessions, you will want to watch the recording of the other section. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's just say I can come on Tuesdays, but I really can't come Wednesday nights because I have kids and it's just too hard, right? So I would come on Tuesdays, come to the live session, and then at my leisure, I would watch the Wednesday one after Wednesday. Okay, so that's kind of how that's going to work. Now this week it's going to be the same because I'm going to have a different group of students that come on Wednesday who don't know that. Yes, they apply to all weeks after this week. Exactly. Okay, so I recommend that you either try to come to both or make a plan in your week to come to one and watch the other. Okay, so make sure you come to one and watch the other. Okay, or come to both, or you can watch both. Neither of them are required in the sense that you don't have to be here live, but both of them are required in the sense that you have to watch them at some point. Now, I don't have lab on here. Half of you have me for lab, half of you don't. Those of you that had me for lab yesterday, you already kind of know the lab thing, so that's fine. If you have questions about lab, email me separately. And here I list my office hours. So before lab on Mondays, so those of you that have me for lab, I have an office hour, and then after class on Tuesdays, and before class on Wednesdays. And then we're going to do some things probably on Thursdays. I might pull out a group of students and say, hey, meet with me, let's answer some questions if I have a lot of people emailing me or something like that. So we might do little group sessions on Thursdays. So you can email me anytime. I'm trying really hard to be good at emailing back in a timely fashion. So before I move on, are there any questions about the live lecture sessions and when you're going to be able to access them? No? Okay. Good. So, like I said, this is your introductory biology course. It's actually a 2-semester course. You'll take 1407 after this. And like I said, you're really building your basic foundation upon which all the other biologies or even some of the sciences you take will build on it. Okay, so make sure that you take this particular semester pretty seriously. Now, obviously, it's my goal to teach you biology, but in addition to biology, it is my goal to help you, guide you to become a better thinker, a better critical thinker, because I think that's something that as a biologist or as a scientist you need to do. But actually, when you go to college and you get out of college, you end up being a better thinker anyway. So I really do spend time teaching you material and then asking you to apply it and use it in a different way so that you have to think thoroughly through it, okay? And it's also my goal to get you educated enough that you can be an advocate for science and an advocate for biology and be a well-informed citizen in our world. I think we need some more well-informed citizens out there to help educate others that maybe who aren't biologists or scientists. Okay, so in terms of course materials, you have to have internet. So most of you do, it seems, at least the ones that are here. You probably will want some sort of Word or PowerPoint. You have to write a paper in lab, and you have to do a presentation in lab. It doesn't have to be PowerPoint and Word, but those are the most common ones. You also need a camera and a microphone. I don't really know about the microphone, except for at some point you have to present in lab, and so you want people to hear what you're presenting. If you don't have a camera or access to Microsoft, you can use TCC's Lender program to find those things. So I'm going to show you. If you go to TCC's homepage, right here it says request a TCC computer device through the device loan program. So if you click on this, it tells you that they have Chromebooks and tablets. They have, the tablets have built-in Wi-Fi. So if you don't have a good internet connection, this would be an option for you. The Chromebooks, you have to have your own Wi-Fi. And both of these, I believe, have cameras in them. So they're, they're little tablets with a camera built into it. So if you don't have a camera or a microscope, microphone, sorry, you can tell I'm a scientist, or a tablet that works really reliably, by all means, take advantage of this opportunity. They're giving them out, and students can use them. You have to return them at the end. They're not yours to keeps. But for this semester, why not use somebody else's device to make sure you get what you have that you need for your classes? Okay? Any questions about devices? Okay. We already talked about the textbook. So like I said, it can be the In Focus, the Eyeball one, 3rd edition, the Big Campbell Biology one with the sunflower. You can do the 10th or the 11th edition, or you can use OpenStax. Okay, let's just show you the course schedule real quick. So for each week, I tell you the week that is covered, the topic we're going to cover, and then the chapter in each of those various textbooks. Okay, so if you choose, like someone earlier said they bought the one with the big sunflower, when you're going through, you're going to make sure you're looking at this chapter that's in the Big Campbell for you. If you're someone who's using the eyeball book, this is the chapter you want to look at, all right? If you're using the online book, then you're going to look at this one, all right? Now, like I said, I built my class around the In Focus book, so the lessons are going to be referred back to this book. So you might have to refer back to this sometimes to figure out what lessons line up with what chapters, okay? Then you have the lesson. So I'm going to show you this in just a second. For every lesson, there's an outline. So you have to do the outline. You have to come to that class and do the outline. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second. And there are questions embedded in that outline that are for points. So you have to read the lesson, and then you have to do the lesson questions for points. All right? The lesson is pretty thorough. It covers everything that I expect you to know for the class. So if nothing else, if you don't come to the live sessions, which I recommend, you don't watch the recordings, which I recommend, if you do nothing else, at least read the lesson outline, if nothing else, okay? Because there, like I said, there are points associated with it, and it does kind of cover the general gist of what I want you to know. Did I have a question? I lost my page here. Someone asked me a question. Oops, that wasn't the right thing. Hold on, I gotta find you. So Dr. Bird, first question is each unit due at the end of a week? Yes. And what I'm sharing is part of the syllabus, exactly, which is in your Blackboard shell. And I'll show you where it is in just a second. So for this week, anything that's here is due by Sunday at midnight. All right, so then for this week, so that would be August 30th at midnight. The next week, it's all due September 6th at midnight. And in a way, you can work this class to go at your own pace. Like if my live sections don't work with you, then you can do it whenever you want to. Okay, Frishta, I have to leave this session because I don't have my computer with me right now. Yes, you can totally just come to the one tomorrow or watch the recording of this one. That's totally fine. So Frishta, if you have to leave, go ahead and leave and then just come to one or the other. Yes, so Laura Ann, we will cover a chapter a week. That's true. And yes, Jordan, we do have to use Proctorio for the quizzes. So that is why you have to have a camera. The quizzes and the tests will have Proctorio. Okay, so for every week you do these things. So now let's go into Blackboard and see what that looks like. Okay, can you see that? You see my screen again? I'm going to go into student view so you can see what it looks like too. So when you enter this course, which it's not letting me enter right there, there it is. Okay, this is what you would see when you came into the course. Right here is the announcements. I'll post announcements there about what's coming up that particular week. If you click here on lecture syllabus, that was where I accessed that syllabus I was just showing you. And it's right here. Yes, that's true, Shazia. If you can't see my screen, the recording will have it. The syllabus is, oh my gosh, my internet's really slow right now too. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's me. It says I'm connected. But like normally this opens right up. So this is the syllabus. And so you can see this is what I was just reading from. So you can access this anytime you want to see what chapters we're going to cover, when the exams are, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, that's right here in this link that says lecture syllabus. Under lecture syllabus says lecture material. So if you click there, you'll see each unit for the whole semester. So we have 5 units we're going to cover. There are 3 chapters per unit. All right, so we're doing about 15 chapters. If you click on the Unit 1 folder, what you'll see is all 3 links to all 3 chapters, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. If you click on Chapter 1, it's going to show you everything you need to do for Chapter 1. So if you don't like the syllabus, use this, okay? So first there's a weekly checklist that says make sure you read the Chapter 1 lesson outline, watch the videos and complete all the questions, attend a weekly live lecture or watch the recorded lectures, watch the lesson videos and PowerPoints. I'm going to show you where all this is in a second. Make sure you read the chapter, you complete the assignment, and you take the quiz. And if you have questions, you email me, okay? So make sure a week you're looking at this checklist and saying, yep, I did number 1, I did number 2, and I did number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. Okay, you have a whole week to do all of those. Under the checklist, every week there's going to be a set of learning objectives. These learning objectives are basically your study guide for that chapter. So a lot of times students say, oh my gosh, you're going to give us a study guide? This is, I designed my class to be integrated, so I kind of do a backwards design and I say, here's what I want you to know in 5 years, right? And so to make sure you know it, here's what I'm going to ask you on, and then I go back and I say, here's my learning objectives that I want you to build. So I build my tests and my lectures based on what I want you to know in the long run, and they're all integrated together. Under the learning objectives are the activities you're to do for each week. So this one is the lesson outline. You click on that, it'll pull up an outline. You want to see what it looks like? Let's see if it loads. It'll pull up an outline. There it is. Okay, good, it loaded. It's there's a table of contents over here you can use, or you can use the next buttons up here. Those same learning objectives are here. Notice at the top it says score 0 of 15. When you go through this outline, there are questions in the outline. So this is a video. If you click on this, you can watch a video. You can watch them right in the lesson. If you come across a question, you're going to answer a question. So scrolling down, you read all that, then you're going to answer those questions, and you'll get a score. And this actually goes into the grade book. I did find that I had 1 mistake so far on the chapter 1 one, but I go in and I correct it if I make a mistake, so don't worry about it. But point it out to me if you think, wait a minute, I answered that right and it got marked wrong, because you know, I kind of wrote these in a frantic manner getting ready for the semester, so I'm sure there'll be mistakes here and there. So you'll go through each page of the lesson until you get to the end and answer all of the questions, okay? So that's the lesson. Under the lesson link is a folder that contains PowerPoints and videos. So if you click on lesson PowerPoints and videos, all right, so here are some videos that I think are useful. I never pick really long ones, so they're all about 5 minutes or less long. An overview of biology, evolution video, evolution on Earth. This is really cool. Someone did it with kind of like clay, so it's a really creative one. One on the scientific method. This is a little animation that you can use to learn the scientific method. And then I have your PowerPoints. that are, these are not the same PowerPoints that you see, but the PowerPoints are there, okay? Now these ones that are here, that say narrated, some students will get it to work and some students work, so it's like my voice narrating over this. This is from a previous semester, but you have to have a Office 365 account for it to work. So if you do, you can click on it. If you don't worry about it, just scroll through these slides and you'll be able to see it. There's no questions associated with any of these things that are that's worth points, although you might get questions over it in the test or something. The next thing on your list, so we did 1, 2, number 3 is the live lessons. So we know we have our live lessons on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We know when office hours are. If you have me for lab, that's when lab is. Number 4 says make sure you read the chapter. I provide for you a study guide to fill out while you're reading to help you thoroughly read the chapter. It's not for points, it's just optional. Number 5 is an assignment. So you have to click on this and figure out how to do that assignment. And then number 6 is a quiz. I do have extra credit for every exam. You can earn 5 points extra credit by meeting with some classmates virtually. Of course, I don't want you to go risk your life. You can meet virtually 3 different times, and you have to document that you did it. So you can document it using this link. There's a video option you can use, but if you do it in some other way, that's okay too. Just make sure you get it to me. And then if you want some of this material, you want to download it on your computer, you can download it from Google Drive. So every chapter is set up that same way, and so you just have to make sure you read that checklist and you complete everything on that checklist, and every chapter has all of those items in the checklist. Okay? So let's just look at chapter 2 so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's your checklist, your learning objectives, your lesson outline, the PowerPoints and videos, the links to the live session, reminder to read the chapter, the assignment for chapter 2. This one has 2 assignments and a quiz. Okay? So for every week, you're just going to do make sure you're scrolling through all of those things. Does anybody have any questions about what you need to do each week? And it's listed here, right? You're supposed to read this, read the lesson, go through the videos and PowerPoints, go to the live session, complete the questions and the assignments and the quiz. So you're kind of doing all of these things every week. All right, and like I said, we have 5 units, so we're going to have a total of 6 exams. So if we look at this exam schedule, let me zoom out just a little bit. Zoom in a little bit more than that. Let's say, okay, is that big enough? Can you see it? So the first test will be open September 13th to the 15th. I'm opening them not quite 48 hours. I think I open it early in the morning on the 13th, and it's open till midnight on the 15th. So 6 a.m. to midnight, so it's just short of 48 hours, about 42 hours. You can take it anytime you want during that time, but know that it's a timed test. So when you log in, you're only going to have the amount of time that was designated for that test. So make sure you are ready to take the test before you log in, because once you log in, you're not going to get another chance. Let's see, I have some questions here for the Themes of Life Wiki. How do you recommend we contact our group? So for the Themes of Life Wiki, there's on the side of your screen, there's a thing that'll say My Groups. If you click on that, it will pull up the students' names that are in your group, and then you can message them probably through Teams. I think I have almost everybody in Teams. If you're not in Teams, email me, because I added a lot of you early, and I don't think my class was quite full, so there might be just a handful of you that I haven't added to Teams yet. If you haven't heard from me through Teams, let me know. Send me an email, and then you can find the other students in Teams really easily. Just type their name. It's kind of like Facebook. You know how, like, if you go into Facebook and you say Kristen Bird, look at this video. And when you type Kristen Bird, their name gets highlighted, and then I get a message that says someone else wants me to look at this video. Teams is the same way. As long as you type their name, that it comes up as an alert to them, like, hey, somebody wants to contact you in Teams. Yes, in the syllabus, there's a full schedule, so you can refer to it for due dates. Everything's due on Sundays at midnight. Everything for each week, okay? Microsoft Teams is a great place to do a group chat, so you can do that there. Braden, it may be that you added the class after I built the team, so email me. Shazia, if you're not in Teams, make sure you email me. And yeah, you can do Teams on your computer, you can put it on the phone. So both are workable. I have it on both my places, and I get alerts in Teams all the time. Okay, so back to the test. Like I said, you have the full 42 hours to take it, but once you start it, you only have the amount of time that's given, and it's probably about, it'll be less than an hour. Typically, I give you about 1 minute per question. It is Proctorio enforced, and it is going to show that you look away from your screen and then alert me that there could be cheating. So just be prepared to take the test don't think that you can maybe open another browser and answer, or look down on your phone and try to get the answer. It just is not something that it will allow you to do. Okay, so make sure you're ready to take the test. Now, I believe that not everybody's a good multiple choice test taker. I also believe that expressing what you know is really important, both verbally and in writing. So for every test, I also have a take-home portion. You see this right here? Whoops. This take-home portion typically will be about 10 questions, and you have to pick 5 of them and answer them, and it's like an essay test. And then you'll turn it in through turnitin.com. So there'll be a link on Blackboard, and it basically is like a plain check to make sure you're putting it in your own words. I'll tell you this now, and I'll remind you again later, but those questions, I typically ask that you write them as if you were teaching somebody who didn't know anything about biology, how you would answer the particular question. So let's just say the question says, for example, the group wiki, where it says, how does text messaging relate to the themes of life, right? So you would have to, if you were going to be explaining it to my 9-year-old son who hasn't ever taken a bio course, you would say things like, well, you're made up of cells, and in order for your fingers to text message, there are a lot of different kinds of cells that have to coordinate activity. You have to have muscle cells. The muscles are stimulated by nerve cells, right? And so you might explain a little bit about cells before you get to answering the question that here are some themes that we're learning about and how this relates to each one of those themes. All right, so I'll remind you of that when the time comes. For each test, there will be an online part and there'll be a take-home part. All of them are due no later than this date right here, 11:59 on this date. Just so you know, these are not Sundays. These are, I think, Tuesdays for the most part, okay? The last test and the final don't have the take-home part. Just keep that in mind. And the take-home part is half your grade. And it's take home, right? So there's no excuse to not get 100% on the take home part. But you do have to put it in your own words, and you do have to thoroughly answer the question. But if you do that, you should get 100% on that, which means it gives you a little bit more leeway if you mess up on the multiple choice. With regards to the final, I don't really drop an exam, but what I let you do is replace your lowest exam score with whatever you get on the final. So let's just say maybe you wake up late and you're feeling really icky, and you log in to take exam 2. It's the last day, you don't have much time left, and you just bomb it. Let's just say the first test you get an 85, this one you get like a 30. And then you get an 80 here, and a 79, and an 82, right? And you have this 30 that's bringing down your nice solid B to a nice solid C, right? And so you can get rid of that 30 by doing well on the final. So for example, if you get an 89 on the final, you get to count it for the final, and then you get to go back to that 30 and replace it. All right, so this is your 30, but if you get an 89 here, you can replace that 89, that 30 with an 89. So it's kind of like a little bit of a get out of jail free card, and I don't mind it because if you're getting an 89 on the final, you've made up for whatever that loss was. You're doing well enough that you deserve not to have a 30 on your grades. Any questions about that exam replacement policy? I will say that if I suspect or I catch you cheating in some way, that policy is removed from as an option for you as a student. So if you get a 0 on exam 2 because you were obviously on your camera like Googling the answers to the test, that remains a 0 even if you get an 89 on the final. So that's one of my policies for cheating. Just a couple of other things. The drop date is November 19th. So if by November 19th, you'll see here we have a test November 15th, I'll have the grades up for this Unit 4 exam. If you think, gosh, I just don't think there's any way I'm going to pass, you can drop as late as November 19th. And then we do get a break during Thanksgiving week where we'll have nothing's due. If you look up here, it says November 16th to the 22nd, and then you have a week off before we come back after Thanksgiving. Okay, so we have grades coming from exams. That's 65% of your total grade. There are grades coming from the questions that are in the lessons and the assignments associated with the lessons. That's worth 12.5% of your grade. There's the Blackboard quizzes. They are worth 12.5% of your grade. And then there's one project that I'm going to have you do that's worth 10% of your grade. Let's see. I'm going to go back to this real quick. Let me pull this over here. So the vocabulary project is, it's not due until the end of the semester. However, you can start working on it whenever you so choose to start working on it. It is basically what you're going to do is you're going to make a PowerPoint presentation, or you can make note cards, but I'm not sure how you would get the note cards to me. I guess you could mail them to me, of 50 different vocabulary words. So all of these vocabulary words right here, you're going to basically make a note card that answers these questions in the instructions. So you're going to define the term, provide a picture, provide an example, tell me why it's important, and then answer either what is it made of, what does it function, or what process is it part of. And you're going to make a PowerPoint. And then you're also going to define these suffixes or prefixes in your PowerPoint. You're also going to order these from smallest to largest in your PowerPoint, and then you're going to do a compare contrast, like 5 paragraphs for these different type items that I want you to make sure you know the difference between. So that's not due until the very end of the semester, due November 30th. However, you know, a lot of times students feel overwhelmed right before finals. So if you're someone that knows that that's going to happen, start now. Like you can start with chapter 1 vocabulary and just build that PowerPoint as the semester goes along. It's totally okay. Although I will tell you that I've had a lot of students say that they like doing it right before the final, even though they feel overwhelmed. Sometimes making them go back and define all those words is a really great review for the final. So you could choose to do it that way. Okay, so like I said, lectures are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. If you can, try to attend both. If you can't, at least watch the videos or attend what you can and watch the video of the other. And then labs for Bird are on Mondays. Just again, reminder, the graded items, you have embedded lesson questions. That's that lesson outline you have to read. You have, every chapter has an assignment, like a wiki or a worksheet. Every chapter has a quiz on Blackboard. So kind of 3 things for worth points every week. And then the vocabulary project will be due April 16th. Oh, I'm sorry, date. I obviously forgot to change that from previous semester, right? Well, let me change that. It's due November 30th. Hold on, I gotta change it real quick. Okay, It's due November 30th. And then, of course, you have the 6 exams. Any questions on how to get points in this class? I'm giving you lots of opportunities for points because everything weighs a little bit less that way. You know, when I was in college, I had classes where I only had 1 test or maybe 2 tests the whole semester, and that was it. Like if you bombed a test, you just failed the class, right? So this is keeping you on task every week, engaged with the material every week, and kind of gives you a little bit more room for error. Okay, so great. I am going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to restart.